Hey everyone, Flava, and we have got a very interesting topic to talk about today, and that is the problems that a lot of women can face in gaming at this point. And I'm gonna be trying my very best to not take sides, but there is definitely a side that is in the wrong and one that isn't so much. So, yeah, we're gonna talk about kind of what you'll experience as a female player um, playing an action or an online shooter game at the moment at least. We're gonna be using Overwatch as an example. Surprise, surprise. I rarely do that, so it's a good cleanser of the palate, right? So we're gonna talk about the first step to being a woman in Overwatch, right? You gotta expect, if you're playing rank, you gotta expect some good old some good old sexual harassment, right? You're probably gonna be sexually harassed by at least one one person every other game. It's pretty prevalent. It's pretty widespread, and I think the reason for this is because a lot of these people are are small men, dude, who have to sit alone and play Overwatch all day, and so they don't really talk to people much. They don't get out of their room, and they kind of just they go on this weird little power trip of being able to say what they want, right? Another thing you're probably gonna get is some good old stereotyped like sexism. You'll probably, if you do speak, of course. If you don't speak, then you're probably not gonna be like harassed. All right, just keep that in mind. If you never like speak at all, or if you use a voice changer, the chances are you're probably not gonna get like any of these problems, just because these are more towards like voice and stuff like that. So yeah, if you're speaking, there's a high probability, much higher than sexual harassment, that you're gonna be told to go back to the kitchen. All right, that happens a lot. It's happened. It's happened a lot. I've had female friends that this happened to me with. This happens all the time, dude, all the time. And it's not so much when you start winning the game that this happens, but when you start losing and people get like pissy, they look for someone to blame, and automatically they choose the female, because in gaming at the moment, at least in Overwatch, females are a very small percent of the player base. So if there's an oddity, then it must be the oddity's fault, right? So they'll hurl some insults at you, right? You'll probably be told, let's see, what are some of the creative ones? Yeah, you got like go back to the kitchen, or switch on to Mercy, one trick trash. Like we've had some interesting ones, right? And number three, right? People are very aggressive towards women right now in gaming, and the reason for this is just because like they can be, right? Like you can sit on one screen and you're perfectly safe. You can pretty much say whatever you want legally, kind of. It can be as hurtful as you like, but it's not very nice. So that's kind of sad. But they can be as aggressive or as annoyed as they want, with anyone, and they'll probably choose to pick on you because you're different at the moment, right? There's not a lot of women in shooter games. There's not a lot of women in action games, because these games are not, women just don't play as much shooter games and action games as men do. That's just, statistically how it is. If you go into an Overwatch game, it's very rare. 1 in 10, maybe 1 in 20, probably even more, you'll see one female on your team. It's very rare. And so the reason for this is they are looked at as, foreign, kind of strange, a little bit of an oddity, kind of just the odd man out, right? And that's where a lot of problems can come in, because you're seen as not really part of the norm, right? Not part of the community. And this is, because games appeal to men more, advertisers and stuff, they're gonna, of course, advertise towards men, because that'll increase, profit. They're not gonna advertise to people who aren't interested, because that's just, that's money down the drain at the moment. So that's one of the things that can really drive these problems, is just, they're just not made for women at the moment. And genuine sexism right now is actually pretty small, right? The actual amount of people who are genuinely sexist on on shooter games is it's small, right? Most of them are just power tripping, because they finally don't have to, like, I guess, conform to society, right? They don't have to be like, oh yeah, hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. Yeah, that's interesting. They can finally, just let it all go, let it all lay out, dude. It's not very nice, but I mean, they can, and that's because there's no repercussions, right? Sure, they could get reported, they could get I don't know, banned, I guess, somehow, but they don't really have to be normal, right? They could finally have a taste of what it's like to just be some psychopath, aggressive, angry person that can just scream. Dude, people are so angry, man. I've had so many strange encounters with such angry people. And it's funny because you talk to them in such like a polite manner. You're like, oh yes, yes, and they get so much more angry. It's really, you guys should really try it, right? If you're ever playing Overwatch, it's very funny to watch. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Now the solution to this is kind of tricky, right? Because the reason that women are treated so differently is because they are different, right? They're not normal. They aren't a large part of the community like most male players are. So you kind of have to, you know, kind of just deal with it a little bit. And with a lot of games nowadays, there are ways for people to defend themselves from, you know, people being rude or just obnoxious, right? You've got a lot of stuff, you know, you've got mutes, blocks, reports, avoids. You can basically completely have somebody excommunicated to where they cannot speak to you in any form ever again unless you let them, right? Now, you don't have to let them, but for some reason, a lot of people just leave them, you know, able to speak. I've seen it with a lot of, I had a game where some girl was getting, you know, harassed a lot by one guy, and she left the entire voice channel. So now the other 4 people who are trying their very best to communicate, you know, get along with everybody, get screwed over because the one guy who's harassing, of course, isn't actually playing hard, and she's left the voice channel. So now we're down 2 players, and we're screwed because one person was acting like a dick, and the other was just, you know, she just couldn't handle it right. So don't hurt everybody else. You know, just take care of one person, right? It's not going to get a lot easier, right? More women, right, would have to start playing shooters. That's just a fact. And the problem with that is women don't particularly like shooters, right? They just don't play shooters as much as men do. And so you'll always be looked at as something a little what's the word? Different. You'll always be a little strange, dude. Like, it's kind of weird. So yeah, basically, you know, if somebody's harassing you, you don't have to take it. You know, just mute them for good. Like, you don't have to sit there and listen to somebody as they're hurling insults at you. Like, if I don't like what someone's saying, then, you know, bye-bye, block. They're gone, you know. Oh, I can't hear them anymore. Just don't listen. It's not that hard. And you could always sit there and say, well, men should just know better, you know. That's like telling criminals, you know, you shouldn't murder, dude. Or telling a whole bunch of people that they shouldn't, you know, telling a group of people that they shouldn't murder isn't fair, because a whole bunch of, you know, murderers are a very small minority of people who do bad things. But a whole bunch of other people are trying their best to, you know, conform, stay polite, stay good, you know, stay helpful. And those people, you know, get caught in the crossfire because, you know, they are in a particular group that are, you know, they make the people that are doing wrong, I guess, just make the people that are doing right look worse, right? And everybody, you know, just groups the people that are doing right into the people that are doing wrong because they share a category, right? And so that's a large problem, right? And there's a lot of guys who are very accepting. They're not really, they'll treat you basically just like another player because genuinely that's all you really are. They don't see you as I don't know if this is good or bad. They don't see you as a person. They just see you as a player, right? Like a character that you have, and they need to figure out how to work with or around or through. That's all that really matters to a lot of players. But you are gonna get, you know, as I said, probably a lot of harassment, probably some juicy sexism comments. So, yeah, those are some of the problems. And I don't think it's inherent. I just think that people, when a group is different, right, and they are a very small part of the community, and they're kind of strange and far off and standoffish, and people can finally say whatever they want about that particular group without any type of repercussions in the real world, then they kind of just lose it, and they can just say whatever they want because they're tripping out on power. Okay, this video has gone on for 10 minutes. I hope there's an ad on it, smiley face. There won't be, but yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. I just thought it was an interesting topic that I found. I heard somebody talking about it. a while back. I wanted to see, what do you guys think about it for women in gaming? Is it as big a problem as they make it out to be? I think it's a problem, but it's not a huge deal. Like, just mute them, forehead. Anyway, guys, I'm Ven Flava. I hope, of course, you did enjoy this very strange video, and I'll see you all in the next one.